Hello, everybody. This is Natalie with Unicorn Properties. Today, we are talking about commercial real estate, especially storage, with Bree Hartman. We're super excited to have you here. Thanks for making the time.
Thank you. No, I'm so excited to chat with you and especially what you're doing with international real estate agents and brokers and investors. I'm Bree Hartman. I am actually located in Sacramento, California. So I am founder of the Self Storage School as well as we are a storage house group, CEO of the Storage House Group. So I own over $6 million worth of self storage. Gosh, in the past 4 years, and we're constantly adding to our portfolio. But what I really am good at is acquisitions. So being here on this podcast, I'm really good at finding off-market storage deals, building relationships with storage owners, doing creative financing, and then really helping people buy that facility, that first one, or go get that second one and pull it across the finish line. But my biggest thing, right, as just who I am is that I'm a family woman. I love my daughter Kaya, and she was kind of the big start to getting into storage. I didn't have this background as multiple family members in real estate or an agent. I did one accidental rental that then led to okay, now I'm pregnant and I want more. There's, wow, there's toilets, there's tenants, there's all these problems. There's mildew and mold scares. And that was something that was okay, I didn't factor that into my thought process of owning real estate. I was like, I want to own 20 doors. And then once I figured out how hard it is just even to cash flow for one or two, that was where it really was that pivoting moment. And I'm like, there's got to be something else out there. And so while I painted every house door or every room in this house that we were renting out, I actually listened to a podcast, and this is why I think it's so important is the message that someone said was no toilets, no tenants, no employees equals less problems. And that was really that one thing that in the book Gary Keller talks about. If you focus on one thing to move the needle forward, what is it? And that was self-storage. And so that was my joke in the family was, hey, is the storage facility going to come first or is the baby going to come first? And I really dedicated 2021 to finding and buying that first facility and then going out there and doing it again. So that's a little bit of background of just about who I am. And then now, once you do one, now the goal is to own 10 to 15 storage facilities in the next 5 years and then move, abroad, go to Spain, go and live and retire and then remotely manage these facilities because that's what I do and promote. And we remotely manage every facility that we own. So I'd love to walk you guys, through that. But I do want to say, I was just like you, I was just like everyone else that had that W-2 job. And I worked for Fish and Wildlife in California for 7 years. And with that W-2 job, I beat my head over on that, how I'm going there every day. I'm working hard, but I'm working for someone else for that one paycheck and security. So that was kind of that wake up call for me to be like, I want financial freedom, but also I think the bigger why is I want time freedom. I want to do what I want with who I want when I want. And that really was my driving force. And that's how we kind of got into self-storage.
Yeah,
So,
that's how we align. When I heard you speaking in this conference, I was like, hey, you're speaking to me. I love the freedom on when you have your own business, of course, you have to be all in.
yes.
At the same time, I work you do how you do it, and you can spend more time with your family. For
Yes.
many for many agents that watch this show, they are wondering, how do I go from the residential side of the world into commercial? And commercial seems like a big monster out there. Like, oh no, it's too difficult. But you made it so easy, so simplify on your process. So like, I'm just gonna start with one and then keep going. Then automate it. And like you said, no toilets, no tenants, no
Yeah.
problem. That's kind of like something that will be like, okay, if you tell that to an investor or to a buyer as a real estate agent, then you can maybe pitch this idea to them and considering besides, flipping houses, that's great. Investing in rental income is great, but when the tenant doesn't pay, that's a pain in the back. Like,
Mhm.
like, okay, what do I do now with COVID? And many people were not paying the rents.
Yeah.
So would you share more about your experience on like the nothing is hands off, but to
No, yeah.
less of hands off that being with a human being and hosting a home for rental.
Yeah, no, I think that it's so interesting because a lot of people think that they need to own 20 doors before they jump into commercial real estate. And I wanted to show you like that's false. Like you can jump into commercial real estate, obviously, like making sure that you have a right coach or teacher and also a right mentor in your corner to make sure you avoid those risks. But I think a lot of people are so nervous about this, and you have to, the two myths is you have to have a ton of money to buy storage or commercial. And the second myth is you have to have a lot of doors under your belt before you do it. And I want to say you don't. I had one accidental rental. But I think what keeps people stuck is that it's the mindset, right? And my biggest piece is like all these young 20-year-olds, I love it. They have so much knowledge and they're jumping in, they're buying like 46 doors, and they're super smart. Well, I wasn't like that. Like I was like, this was later in my life. And so in commercial, a lot of people, you can scale faster. And I'll kind of walk you guys through how that happens because the part, if people don't know this, in very simple form in residential, you go based on the comps, right, of that house. No matter if that house has the beautiful marble kitchen, which I did in my house, that house is going to appreciate to a certain standard, right? And maybe cash flow $200 to $400 a month, or you can do whatever strategy you're doing. But in self storage, you can actually accelerate that by 10. You buy one facility, and say you buy a facility that is undermanaged with like cash box, which means people are putting cash inside. But what's nice about this is that you can take that gross income from maybe $5,000 that they're bringing in from rent to 10,000 just with better systems. And that is actually going to be taking that facility. Like we have one $500,000 that we did seller financing, and that facility is now going to be worth 1.2 million at a 7.5 cap in 3 years. There's no way, sometimes like a residential that you can push and accelerate that appreciation and force that value over time. So that's the difference between like commercial and residential. But I think the question that you like initially started off with is like, how do you even get started, right, in self storage? And, my biggest thing is being good. And this is what realtors are so good at. You guys are good at building relationships with people in your community. And it's going out there and finding the deal, right? So, when I talk about self storage, is you have the power when you find the deal. And realtors, you guys have the power. Like people want to be your friend because you're bringing those deals to, the seller and the buyers. And you have a really amazing opportunity right now because it's a buyer's market. You have an opportunity to build that relationship in your community within a 10-mile radius of all the storage facility owners and say, call them up and say, hey, would you be open to considering an offer, or would you be open to selling at some point? There's always an exit in mind. Have you thought about it? Or you can go out there and take them to lunch. You know what I mean? And that's what I think people in these realtors it's an exciting time because these relationships are built on long-term relationships with long-term people and doing those deals together, and then you can take that to market, right? And go sell, or you can buy it. I know a lot of realtors that started in residential as a realtor and got into self-storage as an operator and owner by going out there, building relationships and buying their first facility that they put under contract. So you have a really great option, I think, as a realtor, and I wanted to relate it back to that to kind of get in. And I think another amazing tip is, if you are maybe abroad, right, is we have two storage school students that are living abroad. Like one is in Venezuela and then the other one is in Africa. He's in Ghana, Africa, and they are expats, right, that buy in like Houston, Texas, in the US, right? So they are still calling owners, building relationships with owners, and then being like, hey, do you want an offer? Right. And so they're buying these facilities abroad. And then they go, of course, you have to go there and do due diligence and close it, but you can remotely manage self storage. And that is for me, when I talk about just my story, is how do we work smarter and leverage what we have and have freedom of time and space. And that is that you could run all self storage facilities with one 1099 employee, boots on the ground from anywhere else in the world. And that is the goal. And so I can go through it. I just wanted to, see if that would be helpful for you guys.
I think so, because as you mentioned, many realtors are in a space like they know
Yeah.
residential, they're scared of commercial. But I think the step-by-step process that is possible, you did it, maybe you started, like you said, cold calling the spaces.
Mhm.
How can, let's say, an agent that is watching be like, okay, I'm ready, where do I start?
Yes, absolutely. So I always like, it's true. Like I own the self-storage school. So I obviously say going into a group and community that has like pre-done for you templates and like ready to go and helping you cross the finish line with offers is like a great place. Like I'm always a big advocate for coaching. I have a coach and that has helped me 10x my speed of being the best self-storage investor and owner. But the second thing that I think you can do and anyone can do is you can go on, it's a really simple thing that I teach my storage school students is you go on Google Maps and you can actually type in Google Maps. You can be like, we did this morning, Clinton, Tennessee. And that will actually open up the Google Map pack and show you all the self-storage facilities. And then from there, you can just start calling. Like I call it smile and dialing, but call the facility. Like if it's a mom and pop, it's probably going to be the owner, And another good example on how to just get started is I know I'm going to come and talk to your community about it, but LoopNet and Crexi. Like go on a lot of people, realtors, right? You have the MLS. And then you've got Crexi and LoopNet and commercial. And people don't know how to do the searches. So if you are a realtor and you know how to go into Crexi and LoopNet, you can actually find hidden, they're on market storage deals, but they are, if you put in the keyword seller financing or you put in the keyword like storage facility owned by owner or like buy sale by owner, or you go in a facility that says like multiple things that you want out of this value add storage facility with expandable land. My students are finding these deals on market and they're negotiating them with $400,000 off right now. And so that's what I wanted to talk about is like you guys, there's an urgency. There's like I want to like you have an opportunity in self-storage where it's 67% mom and pop owners that maybe own one or two facilities that don't have a website, that have owned it for 20 years and they're ready to retire. And then you've got multifamily that you can make a choice with that has tons of toilets and tons of tenants and all these things. But you can jump into multifamily, but there's only 10 to 12% are mom and pop. They have already been eaten up by other like consolidators and syndicators and REITs that have come in. And so the opportunity at hand is would you rather have more mom and pop owners or would you rather have maybe a lesser, vision on that? It's up to you. And so the reason why I got into storage was not to reinvent the wheel, but to be able to remotely manage these facilities from anywhere in the world so that I can go travel and go to my girls' soccer games and like do those things that I need to do versus having to depend on, a lot of other employees to go clean and Airbnbs and all these pieces that you have to manage.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
And you mentioned also about the seller's finance, but also the creative financing. Can you
Mhm.
share just a little bit more on that? Because you
Yeah.
said there's a preconception that I need a ton of money to invest in commercial real estate, but but then there's other ways to do it. And can you give us some?
Yeah, hands down. So I'll give you an example. So I have like two examples of two different students, but I'll do one of like the facilities that we just bought. It's a smaller facility, but it's 12,000 square feet, so around 100 units. And so we bought this with seller financing, which is just a beautiful fancy term for the owner gets to be the bank. Right. And the owner owns that facility outright because normally they've owned it for 10 to 20 years and it's cash flowing like crazy. And what's nice about this is that you can come in and say, "Hey, Mr. Owner, I'll pay you a little bit more. Like instead of 500,000, we paid 500,000, but we'll pay you maybe 600,000, right? And you get to make money off us. If you do seller financing, we'll give you a 5%, rate for 7 years. So really over time, you're going to make about $800,000. Would you rather make $800,000 or would you rather do a bank loan and the bank make money and we'll give you a $400,000 offer, right? So making it really clean and simple is I teach my students how to do seller financing offers because you are putting yourself in a hole. And as a real estate agent, a lot of people I know are right now are asking people about seller financing, but honestly, you guys have to be the educator. Like you guys should know how to do this and educate the seller, and that helps you get the best deals and you become known as that realtor that can actually get seller financing deals and people are going to call you all day long. And so that's what I love to teach our students is how do you submit three offers? One can be a bank offer, one can be a seller financing offer, and then one can be maybe another seller financing offer that's more creative. And then the owner, you put it on the table and the owner gets to select it, right? So in this example, like we bought a facility, it's $500,000. It's going to be worth about 1.2 it's at a 7.5 cap. Next year we're going to sell it and then 1031, that's something bigger. But would you buy that facility? If you could cash flow, we cash flow about 4,500 a month. And then from that, we're going to double our net worth. We bought it for 500,000, you sell it for 1.2, and then you go take that money and you go do it again. And that's how you snowball your net worth, right? And so that's what I like teaching in my, for my storage school students is like, how do you go out there, and buy something? We only put $35,000 down. Is that wild? $35,000. That was it to close. It was one of the easiest close, a 7-page document that we wrote up with the seller. We pay him $2,200 every single month into his bank account. And from that, he calls it his fishing money. He loves going charter fishing. He takes his grandkids, but he uses that money to, do and go out there and live what he wants to go live and retire. And we get to cash flow the storage facility and then double our net worth because he had no website on there.
Mhm.
So,
With technology, you will think, they have everything figured out, people who own these businesses, but many
mhm.
baby boomers are really ready to retire. They're ready to sell those business, including self-storage.
Yep.
But, if you're not there to help capitalize or even just, transfer that facility,
Mhm.
some people have been running for 20 years might be already tired. They're like, I'm done
Yeah,
with it. It's
I know.
else to
It's
come with more.
wild. It's wild. And I want to talk about a little bit just to break this down and show you guys, how we run these remotely. And I think that's a really big thing that, realtors and even internationally, a lot of people have questions. And I think it's actually a fantastic asset class because at the end of the day, we rent space. Like it's not fancy. It's a boring, simple business that you get to, put systems on and automate and go do it again and in different market, right? The market matters, but you can take that same principles and do it again. And it doesn't take rocket science. Like it's a concrete floor, three, roll up door and a cinder block building, with a roof, right? And so if a 80-year-old, and this is what I'm going to show you automation of this, if an 80-year-old, like we bought a facility from an 80-year-old, one of my storage school students, she flew out to North Carolina. She's doing this deal right now. But what's beautiful about this is that he is going to get to retire. There's going to be a seller financing part to this deal. But what's beautiful is that he is every month they're bringing in people are either dropping cash into this box in the first of the month or they're doing PayPal, which is a lot of a lot of fees. And then he's getting, I think, other payments through QuickBooks. And he's getting other payments through like Venmo. Like this is all over the place. And so what this student is going to do to make it better is that she's going to come in day one, and instead of having to go paint it and make it all pretty like people do in houses, like renovation, it's a simple operational value stack or add. So it's putting a website in place that is self-storage that people can rent from, right? So now you're making that a valuable business and customer service. It's also automating it. So putting a gate code in there so people can have their own code. And then it's also putting in better systems with a call center so that she can live in California and this facility is in North Carolina and run it. And so how this automation works, and I just want to make it really simple because people don't think about this, but people go as millennials, and every generation now they go online and they rent a unit, a 10 by 10 unit, right? They pay $100, right? As soon as they pay the $100, you have to upload your driver's license, you sign your lease, which is a month-to-month lease, and immediately once you sign that lease, a gate code is sent to your text, the text is to you and sent to your email. You get into the gates, you use that gate code. Immediately, there's another code, a lock code that is sent to you, and a map. And so you go to your unit, you find it, you put in that code. It's a smart lock. You take that lock off, you put your stuff in, you put your lock on, you drop our lock off, or you get charged $50. And if you need any help with this, there's QR codes around the whole entire like facility. So a call center, a customer service agent will pick up that knows our facility and help you, but no one needs to be there. And so I wanted to show you how easy and simple that is. And that's literally what we do in storage is we rent space and it's a 24-hour access. Everything's automated with systems. So
Amazing. And you will think like, most people will have that figured out, but like you say, 67% of these storage facilities are owned by mom and pop shops. So it's not,
yeah.
you can't assume that is well run.
No, it's wild. Like we have a few different deals that we're doing right now, and they all have no websites, or they have a website from 2017 on GoDaddy, or they have a website with the rotating E, and you can't rent a unit online. So that's an unsophisticated owner immediately. And the reason people are like, well, why? Well, why after 2020? Like my 3-year-old, why? Why, mom? Why are they doing that? Why does that happen? And it's because they've owned this facility for 12 years. This facility we're buying, it's 94% full. This is one in Missouri. And they haven't had to ever market a single time in their life. Their process is working. They haven't raised rates in over 5 years since COVID. And the reason for that, that's like I'm drooling right now because there's so much money on the table. But the reason for that is because it's cash flowing already. They're making $12,000 a month or more. And they're like, it's a cash cow. Why would I change anything? Like, why would I break a system that's not broken? And that's that mindset, right? And so, to them, they're winning. And then you are that solution, right? Like in real estate, it's a people game. It's a long-term relationships with long-term people, and you're going to come in and solve their problem. And that's the whole goal is, how do you continue their business legacy and then just make their systems better? And then you can force appreciation and then you can go out there and sell or burr, however you want to do it, and go do it again. So,
No, so that's very like a hands-off in a way, like you said. Once they automate and put the systems in place, and I'm sure you teach that in your school as well, right? For self-storage. So many people that might be watching from other countries, they're like, how can I invest in the US? Maybe they're thinking about that, house near in Orlando, but they don't know what comes with it, the property tax and all that. That might it depends on the traffic and the demand as well of people that visit that area. In your opinion, like what are the best states or cities that you look into for self-storage that somebody who's looking, maybe I'll invest in the US, but I want to get more return on investment. I want to be more hands off, especially with self-storage that you can automate it. What are the locations that you would suggest the most? And yeah,
yeah, I It's, yeah, absolutely. So I get understand your question. It's so interesting because in residential, it's like blue states, red states, and all these laws, which is absolutely true. But in self-storage, like people don't live there. So that is one positive, right? It's like they're renting the space. But and I always say like going in with a larger filter, because a lot of people are like, I want to own an hour from my house. And I'm like, great. But we need to also, you can like, let's pass that mindset. And so I always like to say pick 3 states, and cities that you have competitive advantage of, right? Like maybe you went to school there or you have a relative that you're going to go visit, even if you're an expat. Like Vernon, one of my storage school students that's buying a deal in Alabama, he's an expat. He used to live in Texas. A lot of his friends, he went to Houston, a university in Houston. So he lives with his family in a part of Africa. And then he also bought a facility in like Texas. And so he's able to go there when he wants. And you can kind of, depends on how you do it, but you can go see your facility, a little bit of a write-off, and then go see family, right? Double time. So that is something that I always like to say is that what is your competitive advantage? And then I have another storage school student and a coach that is more based in Canada. He's a Canadian coach in the self-storage school, and he helps Canadians actually invest in the US and goes about the right process. But what's cool about this is that he actually partnered with one of his storage school students in New York and they bought a facility together. And so he was able to come in and he manages it from Canada. And then he has his business partner who is the operator and like you can be helpful in the boots on the ground. So in storage, you have more of a pie. So if you are buying like $1 million or $2 million facility, you're going to cash flow more. You can share more in that split versus residential. And that's where I think it's like a teamwork is the dream work, and it's true. I've got two other business partners, and we divide and conquer. As long as they have opposite skill sets from you, and you can come in and be a good team, right? Always explore partnership. Sometimes you don't need it. Sometimes it's really good. So it's all up to how you want to do deals, with someone, and what type of competitive advantage that you have.
And as you mentioned, let's say people from Canada are buying in the US, many people that might be wondering, hey, do I need to get a visa? Do I need to get permits for work? Or maybe how do I declare the income? They can, of course, ask their attorneys, but they have
Yeah.
to invest. If you have like a down payment and you structure the deal, good, and probably can ask you or consult.
Yeah, I was like, I only know a little bit. My storage coach probably would, or from Canada, would go into long depths. Like he knows the whole process of it. But I do know that, I mean, go check with your CPA and all the attorneys. But what's happening right now, especially from all these other countries, which is they have money in Canada right now. Like a lot of people have money, but it's hard to buy real estate there. It's expensive, and people have been outcompeted a lot of the time by these larger institutions. And so they're like, well, I want to also own something, and I want to own it and take advantage and build wealth. And so they're coming and they're coming and partnering, either putting money into, our storage deals that we do together, or they're coming in, they're like, I want to be a GP and owner. And they're coming in and buying facilities, sometimes with a partnership or by themselves. And so it all depends on how much you have and all those different pieces. But I do know that there is some, if you buy a storage facility as an owner, right, as a GP owner, and there's some other regulations that you can have an option possibly for a visa or a green card. Don't quote me on this, but I do know, it's an incentive, right? Like if you buy a business that other gives business in the US, there is some positive stipulation there, but make sure you talk to your CPA. I don't know the full lingo on that, but that is a positive, is like, how do you become a business owner? Remotely manage it from afar. And we have one student that is based in Canada, Vancouver, and then his family, he lives sometimes in Vancouver, sometimes in Florida. So it's kind of a neat split that he does.
Nice.
Hmm.
You mentioned that they can also get together on a deal that you guys are putting together. So let's say if they have
Hmm.
cash, and then they were thinking to buy a residential property, but then they're like, maybe instead of putting 50,000 here, I can put 50,000 here. Do you have any deals that you within your community that are focused on this, asset class that they can buy together, or they can put deals together as an investor, like a syndication? That would.
Yeah. So for us, so I always say, like in storage school, our goal is to help you guys buy facilities yourself. And so, but we have, the thing is, it's split. Like our community, it's one third of them are people like doctors, linemen, attorneys, dentists that have money and they like their profession, but they don't want to be an operator, right? They don't have the time, but they have the money. And so they're looking to partner up with operators. And so we actually put those two together in storage school. And then we also have people that are like, hey, I want to be my own GP. I want to go out there. I want to learn how to find it, and I want to operate it, right? And so we kind of teach the two of the fold. And then if anyone, like we've got a lot of deals, wants to put their capital with a syndication, we are also opening that up and doing that in that capacity. So, or JVing, like, so certain opportunities come along, but that is something like we've got so many deals right now, which is it's a great problem to have. And so that's why it's, storage school, we have an off-market pipeline. So we put a lot of these deals from wholesalers, from my cold callers and acquisition manager into the self-storage school like pipeline. And so a lot of our students have a lot of good looks at good deals and to negotiate them.
Nice. So then you do kind of provide the community, but also the opportunities that they can be buying into, because that so it takes research, right? They don't know maybe where to start, who to call, but if they already have like a database to pick from that you kind of vetted already.
That's,
Great.
yeah. Storage school started from like, it's like how to buy the facility. And then it has really morphed into people are like, well, I want deals day one, right? So like I teach them the three-part framework, which is like we have our off market and on market deal pipeline that we put 3 to 5 good deals like every single day, Monday through Friday in. And then also, how do you build up your flywheel for your off market deals yourself, right? Like also building your own is really important. And then the third is how do you build relationships with brokers, right? And that is also, so all three of those are a really incredible pipeline. And that gives you life to not only find the best deal to invest in, but then also once you buy that first one, I call it it's a sickness, it's an addiction as a real estate investor. You want to go do it again, right? And so that's the goal is like, owning one is fantastic, hands down. But the goal is to take that system that is, an easier remote automation system and go do it again. To own like, 5 to 12 of these facilities, within 5 years, and then yeah, go retire in Mexico. You know what I mean? Like that might be my goal is go to Spain. I have one colleague and friend, she owns 15 storage facilities in Georgia and Florida, and her goal in one more year is she's going to sell off half her facilities and then go live abroad with her family in Spain.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I know. That's like I was like, oh, sounds that's the goal too, 5, 6 years.
It seems like you're like a matchmaking community, right? Like matchmaking the partners that can work together, that they have the time or the money, plus
Yep.
that are kind of already vetted. You're checking them, and then there is that surplus that is happening because you already know, kind of like when eye a new property, like, oh, that's a good opportunity because of this and that, and because you've done it time after time. Is
Yeah. It's so true. And it's like we have so many deals, and my buy box might be different than someone else's buy box. And so we love putting those deals and then putting those deals in for people and being like, hey, like I tagged my storage school student Nate because he's in Kansas City. Hey, go check this one out. Like, go check this one out. And so my students work during the week to, there's a live call that we underwrite deals. Like we just did a case study where it's really fun. We play the prices right. So we give them a case study. It's an on-market deal. And we go through, like what is it worth today? What is it worth based on its gross income? What could it be worth in 3 to 5 years if you buy it and put your business plan on it? The third question that we have them answer is this in a good market? Because it is a business. Where's the supply and demand matrix? Is it a good market that's growing near databases? Is the population growing? And then the fourth question is, what is your offer to a broker or a realtor? Like, what is your offer today? Like base today, send over. As soon as I get off this podcast, I've got to send like 2 offers. But that's you know what I mean? Like that's the exciting part because we can make it as a human like so complicated, or we can make it really simple. And that's what I excel at with storage schools. Like, how do you take a super complex topic like underwriting and then make it like a 4-step process, right? And we give you the tools and the templates and all that to do that. But every month we practice it because literally it's the same thing over and over, just different, case study. But you answer the 4 questions, and when you get confused, go back to the 4 questions. And then you get to watch me, come together. We had one group win. We had a prize, which was great. I'm the queen of prizes. And then I show them, I open up my computer and I walk them through A to Z. How would I evaluate this deal? How much can we push it to? Like it was worth 1.2. We could push this deal to 1.65 in about 36 months, 3 years appropriately, and the cash on cash return was about 15%. And so if you can make it was around $450,000 of forced appreciation, would you do that deal?
Mhm.
Everyone has different answers, right? So this is something that we get to really show people because when you submit deals to realtors, and I tell this to brokers, you don't know unless you call them and ask them for feedback. You don't know as an investor, where did you come in? Did you come in too high? Did you come in too low? What could you do better next time to deliver a better offer? And so I love showcasing this in storage school to not only teach them, but it's like, no, I want you to go, I want this urgency and go, I want you to go put in offers in. Because if we're not putting good offers in, we're not going to get deals. We're not going to buy a storage facility. So I really just kind of say it how it is. Some people like it, but it's good. You need that accountability because people can talk about it all day long. Like, I want to get into commercial. I want to buy storage. I'm renting a unit. I spend $150 every month for 5 years, and this is such a great business. And my big goal as like an educator and founder of storage schools, like I want you to go do it. less talk, more walk, right? Less talk, more walk, go take action, and then bring your problems back to me and I want to solve them. And if I can't solve it, I have someone I know in my corner because I've been in the industry for so long that will help. Yeah,
Mhm. That's amazing. It's a great community, and I think many people that are listening to this now will be wondering. And I think this is good for agents that are willing or want to learn more about how to expand their business, and also investors that are thinking to put their money somewhere that is just there. I mean, and with inflation, you never know what's your money going to be worth tomorrow. So
absolutely.
I just put it in a hard asset right now.
Yep, hands down. So, yeah, that's kind of like what I love to teach, and you can tell I'm just very passionate about it. My goal is like I just tell like a student story, which is like it makes me like I brought tears to my eyes. But we had a firefighter. He's 45 years old. He joined in February of this past year. Literally within like his fifth week, he was cold calling owners. He got on the phone, talked to this owner, and he was driving by this facility that was an hour and a half from his fire station every single day to go to work. And so he called it, talked to the owner, and the owner's like, "Yeah, I'll look at an offer." And so he drove up, met the owner, took him to lunch, right? Built that relationship. Not only did he buy that storage facility, but he bought the facility across the street too, because the owner knew the other guy as well, and would send him business. And so this gentleman, I talked to him and he's like, Bree, I just closed on a storage facility. He's like, I just bought a $600,000 storage with two facilities, with a really creative structure on how he closed this. But he put in 35,000 of his own money. And then he got his fire captain to put in $150,000 into this deal. It wasn't seller financing, but it was a credit union, local credit union. So he needed 35%. But he's going to run it. So he came into little to none, right, of his own money, and he leveraged his fire captain to come in, and now he owns storage. And what's so cool about this deal is that it's he bought it for 600K, only had to put 35% down, but it's going to be worth about 1.112 million in about 3 years. And he's like, Bree, and it's both of them will probably make $2,000 each of cash flow. But what's beautiful about this is he's going to go buy more in that 5 mile radius. And he said, Bree, this is the first time I got to like talk with my family, show them about owning a business. And he's like, I got to talk to my wife and say, hey, my goal is to retire you in like 5 years. And that brought tears to my eyes because I think that is the power of like buying even just one facility is being on a pathway, not a rat race, but being able to be like, wow, I can actually say we're on the pathway to financial freedom. And this guy's 45. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so I just like it gave me chills and I was like, you know what? That makes it all worth it. All the hard work, everything here is like worth it when you can help people make that change. So,
Awesome. No, thanks for sharing all the details on that. I think many people that are hearing this, they're like, okay, maybe I can get up, and take some action. What is the
mhm.
best way that they can reach out to you or even join your school? Because you do have a whole specific school. How long does it take, or how does it work?
Yeah, so self-storage school, like it actually right now, the next cohort starts in like 3 weeks, but it's open right now. So if you are interested in like applying and just having a call with me, you can actually just either send me or text me the word storage school to this is my business number, but I will send you the link, but it's 916-579-7209, and I will send you that direct link. But for the people that, are wanting to get in, it's a 12-month mastermind program. And so we teach you guys like the 5 pillars, which is like how to find storage deals. We also do, it's like how do you actually analyze a storage deal and know it's a good deal? How do you actually fund it, right? How do you put together that money in that fund? And then how do you put offers on? And then the last one is how do you operate it? So those 5 pieces make you a really good storage owner. And so we teach that every single week in the storage school in addition to the deal reviews every Friday. So not only are you getting like the deal pipeline, but you're getting like a deal review so you can say yes or no really fast and not like because speed kills deals, right? So having an expert in your corner is that definitely that way to 10x. I always say like there's YouTube University. Absolutely, you can go do that. But it's like the urgency is it's a buyer's market right now. Like you need to get in to understand what a good deal looks like and then submit good offers. And that's what I'd like to help people with in storage school. So yeah, we are looking at applications right now. So love to have a conversation. And I guess the last little bit to this is I love giving, like, I have a really fantastic deal analyzer and an offer calculator that I want to give your communities to start looking at these deals. And then I also wanted to put in there a deal finding cheat sheet. So if you guys do want that, also, just if you go to Bree.theinvestor on Instagram, you can just say cheat sheet and I'll try to send it to you. Or you can also send me a text that says cheat sheet, especially for just your listeners. But if you text cheat sheet to 916-579-7209, I'll send you that cheat sheet like right away. So
Well, that's great information, a lot of resources. It's very like day and night, because sometimes you don't know how to start and you don't know where to go. And if somebody can hold you through the process, and you've been through so much, yourself and testing the deals, this is super, super helpful. So I will put the links in the description below as well for anybody who wants to go directly to your Instagram, text you, that the keyword, so you can get up and running in the next 3 weeks. So we're recording today, October, October 2025. So hopefully you can get in either for the next cohort or the one after. Thanks, appreciate it, and I love everything you're doing. Thank you
so much. Thank you for having me. This has been fantastic and so fun.
Thank you for joining us on the Real Estate Investment Nomad podcast. I hope today's episode has inspired you to explore new horizons in global real estate. Remember, the world is full of opportunities waiting to be discovered. And with the right insights, you can turn those opportunities into successful investments. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback helps us bring you the best content possible. Don't forget to follow us in social media for more resources and updates. Until next time, my friends, this is Nathaly Salas, encouraging you to think big, invest globally, and transform your real estate journey. Safe travels and happy investing.